Hi YouTube! In this video I'm talking about safe scuba diving, and not because I'm a pro diver. I am far from that. But because I've been experiencing crazy things while diving. In the first club where I started diving, there was a guy who was dangerous to himself and to his buddies as well. He was an advanced open water diver with a couple of logged dives, but yet he was simply dangerous. Then I promised that I will just dive with such a tank, with such an extra tank. I have this extra tank on me during the dive, and I don't go underwater, open water of course, without this extra tank. This is my number one priority. My second point in my list is the knife. I never dive without a knife, actually without two knives. I know very well that there are parts in the world where it is forbidden to go with the knife. Strictly forbidden in parts of Egypt, etc. But I think it should be a must. My primary knife is definitely a fixed blade, and because I'm right-handed, I always put my primary knife here, because in this position I can reach it with both hands without problems. Of course, if we are left-handed, we have to use the other leg, the right leg, at the same place. I always have a secondary knife on me when I'm diving, which is mounted on the chest band of the jacket, here somewhere, again reachable with both hands without problems. My next point in the list is checking the pressure gauge regularly. Again, basic, especially after a harder period underwater. Next point is the computer. Again, it's compulsory and we have to follow the directives of the computer, period. It may happen that different computers have different directives during the same dive. In such a situation, we have to follow our own computer's directives and we have to inform the buddies that we are staying at a level because of the computer. And generally speaking, we have to be aware of our bodies and of our surroundings, and we have to inform the bodies in time and check if the bodies are all right. Essential. Next point on my list is torch or light as such. I always have my primary torch on my right hand, and I always have my secondary torch on this console with a video lamp as well. Even daytime, I always have light sources on me. Guys, I don't like complaining, but during the whole video, my cat was unbearable, was disturbing. Go. Next point in my list is checking the equipment, our own equipment and the body's equipment. And you could say that I should have started with this point. Yes, right. And there are the rules how to check and what to check before the dive. And I am really surprised how many times people simply don't check their own equipment. It's much easier to fix any problems on the shore than underwater. In this video, I would also like to point out that if we dive in cold water, our systems should be frost-proof, because even if the water is about 5 Celsius, it can freeze. Another significant point is gas calculation and the planning of the dive. Okay, that we are continuously checking the pressure gauge, but before the dive we have to be aware of the depth and the time we want to spend underwater. And we have to have and we have to keep the reserve 50 bar to come up, and we have to start coming up when we are at 50. But it's misleading a little bit, because 50 in a 15-liter tank is not equivalent with 50 in an 8-liter tank. We have to keep this into consideration as well. Dive profile. Okay, ideally we start with the biggest depth in the beginning of the dive, and then we are just coming up gradually, and we are just swimming out the nitrogen, so to say. Also, as mentioned, we have to follow the computer's directives, and we have to stop wherever the computers say that we have to stop. The next thing in my list is the delay. This was the biggest problem to understand when I started diving, that whatever we do underwater, there is always a delay. The desired action always comes later. And we have to be prepared for this. We have to think ahead. For example, when we give some air to the jacket or when we release some air from the jacket, the desired action comes later. And we have to be ready for the corrections with another posture, more fin work. But we have to think ahead. Last but not least, hypothermia. I think this is one of the biggest dangers when we are diving, because the diver himself or herself doesn't feel that he or she is getting into the phase of hypothermia. We would just say, okay, a little bit I feel cold, but I'm still enjoying the dive. I'm a little bit slowly, but I don't want to be weak for the others. And this is a mistake. In such a situation, we should just simply inform the bodies that we are not okay because we are cold and we are just going up. That's so simple. And generally speaking, whenever we feel that we are not comfortable for whatever reason underwater, we just should go up after informing the others. Thank you for watching. Dive safe. Goodbye.